become more and more actually intuitive, believe it or not. All right? So if we take a look at the first chakra, looking on the left-hand side, you'll see it says physical, families, organization, safety and security, and your sense of belonging. If you do not feel safe and secure, you will manifest some form of dysfunction, okay, some form of disease. It's going to happen. It could be that, you know, your foot went out, your knee went out, whatever the situation is, it's going to be something that's going to happen. In my case, remember I shared with you earlier about the fact that I was given up for adoption and that I have eczema? Well, what happens to me? Guess what? When my brother passed away and all of a sudden, you know, my partner was also passing at the same time, all right, it was horrible. And I had, my partner's family gave me absolute heck, I'll just say, all right? And they were staying at my house and they were stealing things out of my house, out of my home. And I was very, very upset, and I did not necessarily want them there. But on the other hand, my partner was dying, and I wanted to honor him. So, what ended up happening to me? What do you think happened during that time?
Eczema.
Eczema.
Right. My eczema flared up, big time. You know why? Because guess who wasn't feeling safe and secure? My brother just died. My partner's dying. The family's taking stuff out of my house. All right. It was absolutely horrible. So my body told me immediately when I looked at my hands, because a lot of times, well, I have dyshydratic eczema now. But when I looked at my hands, I was like, okay, my God, I'm not feeling safe and secure. That is my issue here. So if you can understand that when something's going off in your body, it is your intuitive advisor or your intuitive alarm system saying that there's a problem here, and there's a problem a lot of times emotionally. And until those emotional issues are addressed, and I think this is really important for all of you chiropractors here, because I know you have got to have had patients who you adjust, and they don't get better. They're chronic. Something's going on. So what you might want to consider is what I'm talking about. These emotional components that, if they are not addressed as well, they will continue to have these chronic problems. Because most of us, what happens is this, is that we become good at our practice, whatever it is. And then when we see one or two people not getting better, we start to, guess what, doubt ourselves, don't we? If we're honest about it, most of us are going to doubt. We're going to be saying, hey, you know, what am I doing wrong here? Why is this person not getting better? Well, guess what? It's, to me, healing is holistic. Yes. Have I seen miracles? Have I witnessed them? Absolutely, I've witnessed them. But most of the time, what ends up happening is this, is that it's like an onion. You know how an onion is? You got to peel the layers back. Because what ends up happening is this, is that people are literally afraid of healing. Now that may sound a little out there, but if you start studying why people don't heal, you're going to find this. You're going to find that they're afraid, because wounds can be really good because the light can enter into you, but they can also be something that allows you to negotiate the world and basically control other people. Because if I say to someone, or if someone says to me, Bernadette, you know, why can't you go out and do X, Y, and Z? Well, you know, I can't do that because, you know, my brother died, my partner died, whatever the situation is. What I have just done is I have controlled that situation. All right, I have controlled it using a wound. But what I'm talking about here is that we can use our wounds to let the light enter into you. So, if we move up to our second chakra, people who have, from an emotional perspective, people who have partnerships, especially intimate partnerships, because Each one of these chakras, each one, so if you look on the right-hand side, you will see, oh, thank you. Thanks, Sharon, I appreciate that. I've lost it twice, thank you. The words are great, you know? Beth was the first one that says, Bernadette, you're missing an ear right there. Now Sherry's got it. Okay, but if you take a look at the first chakra on the right-hand side, you will see some of the manifestations that happen. You have chronic lower back pain, sciatica, bone, joint, blood, immune system, and skin disorders. These things will, and of course I couldn't put everything on this piece of paper, but the reality of it is that this is what you're going to see when a person has a first chakra issue. Because what I'm doing here is I'm taking the emotional components of things and I'm putting together with the physical. And if you can see the connection, your practice is going to get a lot better because you're going deeper. Like Ted says, go deeper. All right, so with money and relationships, I'll give you a perfect example of that. I was in a relationship with someone for 14 years. And in that relationship, every single solitary time, I worked in human services before I came into this field. And I wanted to, I was working as a social worker, helping people link up to, with different services and whatnot. And I wanted to build my own corporation. And I said, do you want to do this? And this person said, no, for 2 years. And I said, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. What happened during that time? First thing that happened was I ended up developing a cyst on my left ovary. One of the reasons I didn't know at the time, but one of the reasons I did is because your second chakra is also about creativity. I needed to create, and I wasn't giving birth to anything. So therefore, I got a little cyst. And what happens is that your body is your intuitive alarm system. So what happens is, it'll give you a knock like this first. Wake up, wake up. All right? And if you don't listen to that, what's going on from an emotional perspective, it's going to get louder. All right? And that's exactly what mine did. Because the next thing I know, I'm going to the gynecologist, and the gynecologist tells me I have 3 grapefruit-sized fibroids in my uterus, and that I had, besides the cyst, and I had to have them removed. When that happened, fortunately, I had gotten into this work, because I realized that, guess what? My money and my relationship was way out of balance, completely and utterly. I was financially very, very tight and make sure everything was paid and everything. My ex, on the other hand, would spend money like, it was just falling off the tree. So we had issues. And what we weren't doing was we were not communicating with them about those issues. So, yes, I gave birth all right. I remember giving birth to 3 great big fibroids. And I knew what was going to happen because that was my second. First I had a partial hysterectomy, then I had to have a full hysterectomy because I actually developed another cyst in that area. So I've had 2 major surgeries in my second chakra. So that means I've had issues balancing money and relationships, and it's true. So when that phone call came in the last time from the doctor, and that doctor said, Bernadette, you got to have that second surgery, I was like, you know what? My ex and I were partner at the time. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about these emotional issues because you know what's coming next for me in this area? What do you think? Yeah. You got it. All right? If I am not careful about my emotional security in my second chakra and balancing my money, I will definitely develop something that's life-threatening. Because what your body is doing all the time is giving you signals to say, hey, I want you better. Listen to me. And most of us, what we do is we do not listen. We ignore. And what I'm saying to you today, if you can begin to really listen to your body because it's talking all the time, you're going to be able to not only yourself live a healthier life, but you're going to be able to pass that on to your patients, which I think is invaluable. If we move up to our third chakra, the third chakra is about trust, personal honor, and self-esteem, work responsibility. I hear giggles. Want to share a giggle? We all need to giggle. I love that.
Well, I can just go through here and check off every single. What does it mean if like all your problems start building up? Does that mean you're getting more intuitive as you get sicker?
That's a really good question. All right.
Like you start like first you have this problem, then you have a problem there and there and there and there. What does that mean?
What it means is that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting more intuitive, but what it means, if you're listening to your body, is that there are emotional issues underneath of that. All right? So it really, in every particular chakra, because they're vortexes, okay, and that's what I work with. And they're, you know, some people call them 7 lotuses, some people call them chakras, some people call them data banks, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. Because if you're looking at this chart is very, very specific, okay? If you see the lines that are going across here, you see those dotted lines? What I've done is I've taken and I've literally said, okay, this is where your first chakra is, below here. If you go above, you'll see this is where your second chakra is. This is your third chakra area. So it goes all the way up. So it's very delineated for you, so to make it very, very easy. But the most important thing that I really would like you to really pick up on is that your body is speaking to you. It's speaking, and it's speaking loud and clear. And if you decide that you want to listen to it, you're going to live a more joyful and fulfilled life. And not only that, you're going to be able to transfer this over to your patients, which I think is my goal, is to help everyone, okay, to be of service to everyone. What I'm going to do is go up to the fourth. The fourth chakra is our heart chakra. And as we go up these chakras, actually, we start resonating in that particular area. Because remember, our tribe, we had to be in our tribe. We had to be safe and secure, all right? What did we get? We got our morals from that. We got a lot of good things. But however, we also need to go out and explore, right? All right, we start that like around, what is the dating age now? I don't even know. You know, how many children?
35 when I met.
Aquarius.
But when kids start to go out, and they start dating. I don't know what the age is, but whatever that is, all right? That's like the second chakra area, all right, where you're starting to, get yourself out there and whatnot, And then the third chakra comes along, and it's about our self-esteem, who we are in the universe. It's also about a lot of other things that are on this sheet. But when we get to the fourth chakra, which is the heart, when we start resonating from there, our whole world begins to shift. Because literally what we're doing is that we're literally starting to come into our own. And the fourth chakra is also about nurturing. Remember, when I talk about these chakras, it's always about balance. And that's part of what I do as an intuitive healer. Because people come to me because their chakras are out of balance. I can read your energy like that if I want to. I didn't ask you for your last names because that's how I read people. I read people by their name, their first name, their last name, and their age. When I get that information, what happens is it's almost like a computer. I get downloaded, boom. And then when I get the download, I can help you. And so I don't obviously read people because it's unethical to do so, all right? However, if we keep moving up, let's move up to our fifth chakra. Communication, will, timing, judgment, criticism, personal expression. What are the issues there? Thyroid, neck, jaw, mouth, raspy throat, dental disorders, scoliosis, full spinal difficulties. So, you were saying earlier, what were you saying? What were you saying to us?
I had to
As a kid. But this week, there was some stress, actually with my partner, and I know I was trying to take it on, to bring it away from him, but, and so I had this lymph node pop out, and thyroid issues have, in the past, run in my family. I'm intending to have me be the last, or my mom be the last, of that line. But I can see, this is the area where the women in my family have been challenged.
Thank you for sharing that, because it's very ancestral. Because what happens is that it gets passed on from generation to generation to generation. Part of my job as an intuitive healer is to give you ways to come out of that. And one of the ways that I do it is by helping you to rewire your brain. Because let's take the third chakra, for instance. How many people in here were told that they were not good enough? It happens. All right? We're not good enough. And that gets into our subconscious, and we keep hearing it over and over and over again. And it paralyzes us. It paralyzes us from our highest potential and our highest good. So, what I help people to do is to move through that. Now, obviously we have 7 chakras, right? We actually have more than that, to be honest with you. But we have 7 that we're going to deal with today, because when we start getting up to 8, 9, and 10, we're really in the mystical area, all right? It is not uncommon to see someone have more than one blockage in their chakra area. So, in other words, somebody comes to me and they say, I read their energy, and they say, most of the time I don't want people to tell me anything because it messes up everything. The downloads don't work too good like that. But what ends up happening is that I find out that they've got, let's say, a knee problem. As soon as I find out that they have a knee problem by scanning them intuitively, I know immediately that they have a first chakra issue, so they're having safety and security problems. Then I find out that, let's see, they got fired not too long ago. That's a third chakra issue, because now we're talking about the self-esteem. So what I have to do, now maybe all their chakras will be open, the rest of them may be open and perfectly fine. But those 2, 1 and 2, what I have to do is I have to put those together and give you a mantra. And I give people writing work to do. And people don't like it. People do not like it. And it's okay. But think about this. If you were told from your childhood that you were not good enough, that you would never make it, all right, whatever it is, how much time do you think it would take to erase that subconscious thought?
A long time.
Any? Long time.
More than
Yeah.
a bit.
Yes. Okay. So what I do is I look at that and I say, okay, you've got a first chakra issue and you've got a third chakra issue. So therefore, I know you don't feel safe, right? And your self-esteem is damaged. So I'm going to give you a mantra. I am safe and secure. Write it. I always tell people, write it in the morning, first thing in the morning, and then write it at night as well. Last thing you go to bed. Because what you're doing is you're erasing those old tapes, eventually. But people get tired of doing it, and they think it doesn't work. Today, I'm wearing something very significant in my life. And this is it. I don't have any affiliation with any religion. I love them all. I take the truth. I extract it. I consider myself to be extremely spiritual. I grew up Catholic. I do not practice Catholicism. I take what the truth is out of each one of those religions, and I embrace it. Before I knew any of this stuff, any of it, I got some messages. And the messages was this. They were this. Bernadette, you are a spiritual healer. The energy that flows through you is always pure and wholesome. I was like, what the heck? Okay, I was like, what? Am I hearing this correctly? And I heard it again. And they said, write it. This is before, if you look at, on the, right after the front page, there are different reference books. And one of the reference books is from Louise Hay. And Louise Hay basically came out with this book, Heal, let me get it right. Okay. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And how she got this was pure and utter download. And she takes every body part, every single solitary one, from your fingers to your jaw, to your sphenoids, to your ribs, to your whatever, okay? And through a download, she was able to come up with this book that has sold millions and millions and billions of probably copies all around the world. Now, the great thing about it is that my friend and teacher, Mona Lisa Schultz, Dr. Mona Lisa Schultz, she's a neuroscientist. So one of the things that she wanted to do, and I'm grateful, because scientists are wonderful, wonderful people. You guys, the doctors are wonderful, all right? Because what happens is that you have that left brain going on, all right? Where I'm more right brain. Balance is the important thing. But she is very, very left brain. She's also right brain because she's a highly skilled, intuitive woman. And she was determined to either prove Louise right or prove her wrong. And guess what she did? She proved her right. All right? So when I got the download about you are a spiritual healer, they just told me to write it. But this was way before any of this. I had no idea that Louise had written anything. And I just did what they told me to do. So my suggestion to you is that when you are utilizing your intuition, go for it. Because no one could have told me, and I didn't even know what a spiritual healer was. And guess what? That's what I am today. Part of who I am anyway. Now, I think it's time for another exercise. Okay? Does anybody need a break? We need a break? How long? How long can we give? Like 5-10 minutes? About 10 minutes?